How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another Q&A Friday video. And that smoothie that I just showed you, that is a peanut butter and jelly smoothie. Literally, it tastes just like a PB&J. It's delicious. But I wanted to start the video off with that because I'm trying something a little different. I chose 7 questions this time and 6 of them are focused on nutrition. So we're going to do a nutrition theme for this week's Q&A. So right now we are at my kitchen table. I just finished my smoothie. I didn't want to drink that on camera. I thought that'd be kind of weird. Like, this isn't a mukbang video or anything. And we're going to dive right in. Here's the first question. This is from Shappy, I believe is how you'd pronounce that. I think it's a surname. And Shappy asked, what about organic food? Now, this is actually a great question because it's something I was contemplating including in the Plant-Based for Beginners video. But I decided not to include it because it's sort of controversial and I thought it was a little off topic. But this is a good opportunity to talk about it. So organic food, when it's labeled organic, it's saying that they didn't include or use any pesticides or fungicides or chemicals when growing that food, which is a good thing because, you know, the pesticide residue, those chemicals, have been shown to be carcinogens, right? They're known carcinogens and they can lead to cancer in your body. Now, the problem is that people, when they see that, oh, organic is better, but organic is so expensive, they kind of get turned off and say, well, I can't afford that, so I can't afford this diet. And they just give up hope. So I didn't want to bring that up because the truth is, this is coming straight from T. Colin Campbell, who is the author of the China study. He's one of the world experts on nutrition. Okay, this guy is, if there's anyone to trust, I trust T. Colin Campbell. And he said you don't need to worry about buying organic food because all plant-based food, whether conventionally raised or organically without pesticides, is chock full of antioxidants. And the antioxidants are what scrub the free radicals from our body, right? Free radicals are the result of eating those pesticides and other things that shouldn't be in our bodies. I mean, technically, a free radical is an unstable atom because it's lacking an electron, and the antioxidants will come around and lend an electron to stabilize it. But all you need to know is that there's plenty of good stuff in the plant-based food to undo the damage from the non-organic food. So I hope that answers the question. Short answer would be yes, buy organic if you want to and you can afford it, but don't worry about it. If it's out of your budget, you should still eat plant-based. Okay, question number 2 is from Asteen, and Asteen asked, maybe I just missed it, but how do you go about sautéing things without any oil? You just throw it in the pan? That sounds like a lot of sticking to the pan to me. Does that not happen for you? So yes, I did forget to talk about this in the video, the last Plant-Based for Beginners video, but I did include one part. I put a caption that just explained briefly how to do it, so I don't blame you for missing it. But basically what you want to do is put a few tablespoons of water into your skillet, heat the skillet till the water is steaming, and then add in your chopped veggies. And then from then on, just make sure you stir frequently, and when you notice that the veggies are starting to stick, add another 2 or 3 tablespoons of water, and that'll prevent sticking. So for those of you who aren't sure like why I cook without oil, it's because oil is refined fat. It just adds pure fat to your meals, and it's really not ideal. And it's also not good for your endothelium, the innermost lining of your arteries that produce nitric oxide. So that's why I've moved away from using oil. I still, occasionally I'll use a teaspoon in something because it helps with seasoning, sticking to sweet potatoes and stuff like that. But for the most part, oil is almost completely eliminated from my diet. All right, question number 3 is from Guilherme, who asked, hey Ryan, great video as always, man. I love your content. Thank you very much. As someone who's been in and out of the vegetarian diet a couple of times, I'd love to see how you program your everyday eating, especially when it comes to getting enough protein, which has been one of my focuses. Keep up the amazing work. Love from Brazil. So yeah, I'll make a video on this soon, but what I use is, I call it templates, where I have different templates for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I can just rotate through those templates. So stay tuned for the video, but I'll explain it really briefly. Think of it like a smoothie is one template for breakfast. A tofu scramble is another template for breakfast. Some kind of, maybe avocado toast or something like that would be another template. And I can rotate through those however I want and kind of change them up. There's a variety of recipes for each template. For lunch, it might be sandwiches, stir fries, soups, different templates like that. And I also have different templates for dinner. But to make sure I get enough protein, that I would say all I do is I make sure I get at least 1, but preferably 2 good protein sources at every meal. So that might be a scoop of protein powder in the morning smoothie and some hemp seeds in there. If I'm making a sandwich, there might be, you know, like an oil-free hummus made from chickpeas and plus the whole grain bread. So that's two protein sources. It might mean rice and beans. It might mean quinoa and red kidney beans or something. It's just every meal, I look to have two different protein sources. Sometimes it's only one, but I aim to have two. Now, some protein sources are super high, like seitan and tempeh. So if I'm cooking something with seitan or tempeh, then I don't worry about it at all. I know that that's plenty. But for the most part, when it comes to plant-based, especially with whole grains, they're like moderate proteins. So I aim for two sources per meal. All right, now time for a fitness-related question. This one's from Ernesto. He asked, should I train for looks or should I train for health? What do you think about that? Excellent question, Ernesto. And if you would have asked me, 15 years ago, I would have told you looks, because that's what I was doing. I was younger. I was in my early 20s. I hadn't met my wife yet. Still had all my hair. I was lifting weights. I was drinking whey protein, eating chicken breasts and steak and eggs. And I was trying to beef up and be more manly. So what I learned from that whole experience, and actually it's the whole reason why I made my channel minus the gym, is that if you get too into the vanity side of fitness, you'll probably resort to lots of animal products, which means lots of high cholesterol and high saturated fat foods. And that led me to high blood pressure. Now, I won't go into detail on why it's just a horrible experience to have a medical scare like that when you're young, but I will say that that led me to the plant-based diet. And if you want to, this really comes down to the individual. If you want to train for looks, then go for it. Just make sure you do it smart. Don't eat tons of animal products. Make sure you include plenty of plant-based foods so you avoid those health complications. All right, but if you were to ask me to choose between looks and health, especially right now, as I'm closer to 40 instead of 30, I would definitely say health. And by health, I would mean aiming for longevity. I want to live a nice long life, but I also want to be mobile. As I get older, I want to be able to play with my kids and play with my grandkids. So focusing more on strength and mobility and even skills like handstands and stuff is more what I'm into nowadays. All right, question 5 is from Lucille. And Lucille asked, what do you think of intermittent fasting? I just quit keto 4 days ago, had lost 25 pounds, which is great, but didn't feel well. My blood pressure was very high too. Started vegan again 4 days ago. I woke up this morning and felt unusually good. Blood pressure steadily down for 3 days, so I know this is the right thing. I did gain back 2 pounds though, probably still eating too much fat. But also there's a lot of data about intermittent fasting and I thought I should keep that in. All right, kind of a lot there, but first I want to say congrats on going back to eating plant-based and your blood pressure going down, and I'm glad you realize that's the right thing. Sometimes that's what it takes. It takes for us to see from our own experimentation and our own experience that yes, this plant-based diet is really helping me. It's helping my blood pressure, it's helping my triglycerides, my cholesterol, etc. And that's really what convinces us. So congrats on that realization of yours. And regarding the intermittent fasting, I intermittent fasted with 16-8, so 16 hours fasting, 8 hours eating window. I did that for over a year, and what it taught me is that it's a great tool for eating in a caloric deficit and still feeling satiated. So really, I guess what I'm saying is it comes down to your goals. It seems like you're concerned that you gained a couple pounds. So if weight loss is one of your goals, aside from just being healthier, then yeah, go ahead and do the intermittent fasting. That'll help you eat in a caloric deficit. But either way, whether you fast or not, eating plant-based is a good thing. Also, at the end of your comment, you mentioned, I've been suffering greatly from aluminum poisoning, and I hope this lifestyle will help with that. So yes, eating a plant-based diet will help get some of that aluminum out of your body. But if you want to speed that up, I recommend using chlorella, which is an algae, and you can get this as a supplement. It comes in powder form or in tablets. Take chlorella, whether powder or tablets, for I think like probably 2 months would be enough. And also focus on fresh herbs. If you can eat a lot of fresh cilantro and parsley, they're all known to help pull heavy metals out of our bodies. All right, question number 6 is from Malik. And Malik asked, hey Ryan, what accurate calorie calculator should I use to allow me to get into a caloric deficit? Thanks and love the content. Awesome, I'm glad you love the content, and the calorie counter or tracker app that I use and recommend is called Cronometer. And what I love about Cronometer, besides the fact that it's free to sign up and use, is that it's so easy to use. Like it took me no time to figure out how to use this. Also, their database has virtually everything in it, like every food you can imagine. And if you do happen to stumble on any kind of food that isn't in their database, you can add it yourself so that it's there and you can use it in the future. So it's really a great app, but I want to mention that no calorie counters are really going to be accurate. It's all approximations. And on the same note, even if you use the app to estimate how much energy you're putting out to find your energy balance, it's still just an estimation. It's not going to be completely accurate. So with that said, if you have very specific physique goals that you're trying to achieve and you want to measure and make sure you're in a deficit, then yes, I recommend Cronometer. But if you're more just like trying to be healthier, I actually recommend intuitive eating. And intuitive eating is when you focus on whole food, you focus on getting a variety of colors in your diet, because colors mean different nutrients, and you basically just focus on eating till you're satiated, right? Don't overeat till you're super full and bloated, and don't undereat and leave yourself hungry. You just find that satiated middle point. And if eating till that point isn't producing the results I want in terms of fat loss, I'll just kick up the exercise. I'll add in 50 or 100 burpees to my workout, and that'll help put out more energy. All right, and question number 7 is from Sage Seeker. I think this is the second time I've had a question from Sage Seeker. And they asked, I will probably never go full plant-based, but I have been trying to incorporate more fruits and veggies into my diet. But what are your thoughts on plant-based diets for wrestlers? So first of all, I gotta say that even if you never go fully plant-based, it's still a good thing to eat more fruits and veggies. In fact, my idol, the person that I look up to the most, is Jack LaLanne. And he passed away back in, I believe, 2011 or 2012. But Jack, he was not really 100% vegan, I think maybe for a small part of his life, but he ate meat for most of his life, but he also ate tons of fruits and veggies, tons. He would juice fresh vegetables, he even had his own line of vegetable juicers, and he lived to be 96, and he was still very active and fit, even into his 90s. So Jack is proof that, I mean, you don't have to go full plant-based. You can just eat lots of plants and still eat animal foods if you want to. But to answer your question, and what somebody already answered in the comments beneath yours, is I recommend the documentary The Game Changers. All right, Game Changers shows just the tip of the iceberg in terms of scientific evidence that the plant-based diet is really good for athletic performance. The plant-based diet heals your endothelium, and the endothelium in your arteries, the innermost lining, produces nitric oxide gas. Nitric oxide helps your blood circulate through the body. So when you have improved blood circulation from eating plant-based, that means more oxygen for performance is going to get to your muscles, but also more nutrients for recovery. So absolutely, no matter which sport you're doing, whether you're running in cross country or you're wrestling or you're playing basketball, absolutely the plant-based diet can help you perform better. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this nutritional Q&A. And if you did, please drop a like because that helps me out in return. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Stay tuned because I'm going to try to upload Q&As every Friday, although I did miss one last week. I was just too busy. I'll probably miss one here and there, but I'm going to do my best for every Friday, Q&A Friday. All right? See you next time.